Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald is my very special guest this week. You're listening to a DrydenWire podcast. My name is Ben Dryden. I'm your host. Sheriff, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
How are things going down there?
Pretty good. A little snow today.
Yeah, I heard I think maybe an inch or something tonight or something. Or?
We've got a little snow. We've got a sand truck out down in Barron County this morning, and making sure the roads are just. We got some slick intersections.
So yesterday was Halloween.
Yep.
So 3 of my family members, my immediate family, have been in law enforcement. Mom and I are the only ones that haven't because we like people.
We like people.
I know. So when there's a holiday that comes up, like Halloween, I think of it through the filter of, Halloween and etc. Being in law enforcement, do you have a different filter? Do you see it differently when you hear of, Halloween's coming up? It's, okay, guys, we need to start getting ready for this, and this. Or is it kind of just like any other night?
Depends on the day of the week. I think, when it's on a weekend, it's a little bit bigger for us. Having it be a Thursday night. My only concern is all the kids out in the traffic, and we remind our patrol division to go out and patrol and be in areas where there's not high crime, but high volume of people.
Oh, sure.
That's where we want our people to be out on patrol and just making sure people are wearing have their headlights on and their kids aren't running across streets, and just be more present and available when it comes to a holiday like Halloween. On a weekend, we ramp up our shifts and make sure everybody's where they're supposed to be, because bars have bigger crowds on a Friday, Saturday night when it's Halloween.
Sure.
Sometimes holidays are an excuse for some people to do dumb things. And so we just try to eliminate some of that,
dumbness.
Your choices that you make. By presence alone, a lot of times helps people make their good choices in the world. So that's what we try to do.
Do you you have deputies maybe pull some people over, headlight out, and confiscate candy and stuff?
Yeah, confiscate candy. We just go up to kids and say, we got to check that. Yeah.
We're pretty sure there's something bad in that chocolate. Yeah. We'll test it for you.
Yeah. Where'd you get that candy bar? We need to go check that.
The house.
No, we have fun. And, I worry about those nights like proms and homecomings with kids. Any holiday involving our kids and being out is stressful for me. I gave out candy at a friend's house last night with my family, or not my kids. They don't care about us anymore. They're old. They're in high school. They're like, whatever, Mom and Dad, I'm going to do something. But my wife and I went to some friends of ours and gave out candy with their kids. They have younger kids, and that was fun. But I had my radio on. I had my gun on. I just always want to be ready, because bad stuff does happen, and it can happen any day. But when there's a majority of more people out and about, more things can happen. When we put more cars on the road, more crashes happen, more people happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to say nothing bad happened. With the kids, nothing bad happened. We did have an incident last night in the city of Barron.
I've heard, actually, I got several messages last night about it, and a couple this morning. I think it was regarding a stabbing. I don't know much about it at all, and I figured, well, you're going to be here today. I mean, I'll just ask you.
Breaking news right here. Yeah. Well, I can't really comment on it. It's not my case. It happened in the city of Barron.
Okay.
Our department is assisting with that stabbing. That there was a stabbing. 2 people were stabbed. They were flown out. My understanding is they're in stable condition. The person who did the stabbing is in custody, and we're assisting with that. So while I said nothing bad happened, something bad did happen.
It just happened to be Halloween.
Yeah, it just happened to be Halloween. It had nothing to do with kids or trick-or-treating. It was an incident. I don't know what it was over yet. It happened in the park in Barron, and happened about 5:30 last night.
Maybe it was over candy.
And maybe it was. And
I'm only joking about it because you had said that it sounds like they're in stable condition.
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah, I don't know of any serious injuries. Like I said, they were both flown out, so it's serious. And we're like I said, our detectives were out helping assisting Barron PD last night. And that's those 2 stabbings. We had 2 stabbings over the summer.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so it's. We get some major cases, and obviously we had the major case with the Claus case a year ago, and things like that. But our team I'm very proud of the work our team does. We have a great relationship with our local police departments, and that's what being Sheriff's Department is all about, is assisting and helping. And like I said, I think we had 3 detectives out there helping the Barron Police Department last night.
Well, I suppose, municipalities, just in staffing alone, whether they're full staffed or not, that's still not a lot because they're only covering a certain area.
Right.
So I think it's on cases like this, it's obviously vitally important to be able to have the resources of a sheriff's office or a sheriff's department.
Yeah, and we've put ourselves in being, I want to say our department's a leader in law enforcement. And that's been our goal, from technology to training to staffing. Every chief or sheriff wants their department to be the best, and I think our department does a great job when it comes to major cases. And I think I've built a great team of experienced detectives. It helps when you have your whole detective division has got almost 20 years of experience each person. So so I don't have a young detective division. I've got very experienced people that know how to solve cases, and we have a majority of the cases. So we're going to get more experience when we work cases every day of the week, when municipalities don't always get the I don't want to say it's a luxury to have a bunch of cases, but we have the luxury of getting that training and that expertise when we build working different cases. Sure. There's just less call volumes in some of these municipalities.
Yeah. So you had brought up, the Kloss case.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, there was I think it was a 1-year anniversary.
Yep.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and a lot of people question why we did something on the 1-year anniversary, and we took some criticism for that, but we also, the media sometimes drives some of this stuff.
Sure. Well, hold on. You did what?
We talked about it. Why should we talk about it? Why it's over? Why should we talk about it? And so that was what some people felt we shouldn't even be bringing it up. Jamie's doing good, and I had met with some family members and talked about it, and we've changed what we did on the year anniversary, and we really made it about other kids, and that's really what it was about. It wasn't about the Kloss case per se. Right. I mean, we opened it up with remembering James and Denise and just saying, it sucks that they died, and it's a tragic event, but it wasn't about them, and it wasn't about Jamie. Jamie's guardian ad litem came down and gave a statement about her, and he said some words that she said, and that's what people wanted to hear, that she's doing great. It's a major case, and we showed the world that a 13-year-old girl showed the world that courage and resilience, you never give up hope, and we learned, I think, a new definition for those 3 words, and that's what I spoke about. We got, like I said, some words from Jamie, and then we worked with the National Exploding and Missing Children about other missing kids, because there's 40 other missing kids in Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Just alone. And Bushlands were there. That's a local Washburn County case.
Yep.
They came down and just raised awareness about one case.
Yeah.
If we can solve one more case, that's our job as adults. So I think I wanted to teach, the lessons that we learned from a law enforcement standpoint. I learned as I worked the case. When we gave some stats about the case, and I recognized some of our detectives. Go back to our detective division, and I recognized 10 members of our department, the FBI, DCI, and the State Patrol who assisted us with that. And while I could give awards to over 300 cops that came and helped us every day of the week, those 10 people that I recognized were really the leaders, the case leads, as you want to call it in that case. There was over 700 pieces of evidence. It's the largest case at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. There's 32,000 reports in this case. It's the longest running Amber Alert. So we gave some of those facts that people didn't maybe realize that. I mean, how big this case was, and we didn't realize it at the time how big this case was. But that's the biggest case at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in the history of it.
And you kind of stop when it's all finished,
right? And
thankfully, it had for Jamie. You couldn't ask for a better outcome or how that ended. But then it's almost this: you can kind of take a breath, and then you start looking back and go, "Wow, holy cow, that was something."
Yeah, and I'm very proud of the work we do, not just in this case, but every single day. And sometimes law enforcement gets a bad rap. Sometimes the FBI gets a bad rap. Yeah, exactly.
No, it doesn't. Everybody loves cops.
Yeah, everybody does. So I'm very proud of the work, and we should be in Northwest Wisconsin be proud of the work that law enforcement did. Not just my department. We were assisted by lots of different departments that helped us with this case, and I just wanted that message to get out there. And then I wanted that message to be, as an adult, it's our job to make sure kids know somebody out there cares about them. That's our job as adults. And so I think I have a new passion, a new mission in life, and it all came from seeing this girl and what she fought for, and how she lived, and she found us. I'm not out there,
Right.
taking some criticism because I'm taking the credit. I've never taken the credit since day one.
Right.
I'm very proud of the work I did because our detectives had to work for those 88 days. And then 6 months later, I mean, we had to convict this person. We had to make sure, and we tried to do everything victims orientated. We did this so the victims in these cases try not to ever have to step foot in the courtroom. That's our goal in law enforcement. In this case and in every case, sometimes the victims do have to step foot in the courtroom, but our job in law enforcement is to make sure a victim doesn't have to step foot in a courtroom.
Sure. You had mentioned that you kind of look back and there's a lot of things that you would learn, and you have a mission. What did you learn, and what is that mission?
Well, you never give up, and that's what sometimes it's easy to say, the evidence doesn't, but you really, when there's a missing person or a case out there, you just never give up hope. And I think that really showed and came through in law enforcement. That sometimes it's just like, the lead's all dried up. That's just where we're at. We'll figure it out, And I think it's our job to get that out to the public. That's why I do shows like yours, because we can reach so many more people on our Facebook pages and through podcasts and different things out there. And that's why that's my role, I think, is to get that word out there and mission out there. And
Never give up.
Yeah, never give up.
And it certainly does give a lot of people hope, especially for families that do have a loved one that is missing still. And I think that's an important message.
Right. And it's just our job as adults to make sure that our kids know, I don't care if it's your kid, your grandkid, your neighbor kids, just know that if something happens to them, we're always going to be out there looking for them. We're never going to give up on them. I don't care if it's domestic abuse, suicide prevention, missing child, whatever it is. It's our job as adults to do that. Not as the sheriff, not as Ben Dryden from DrydenWire. It's our job as adults in this community, in our communities, to take a bigger role in life. And we just need to do a better job of that as adults. And that's really what came out of this, because I saw a community come together. And we showed the world how a community should come together.
Yeah.
And every person should be congratulated for that. And then we had a 13-year-old girl show us that you never give up. And because there's people out there that were like, wow, we're 88 days into this. It's, let's close up shop and we'll figure it out. And that was a tough thing for me. And when we went from 24/7 to basically about 16 hours a day, that was a tough decision. We're about 3.5, 4 weeks into this, and they're like, we can't keep going 24/7.
Right.
And I'm like, but we're not done. We're going to keep our team here. And that's that lead of 10 people. They continue to meet for 88 days, and then they continue to meet for 6 months later. And we're still working the case because the open records requests are still out there, and we're going to be releasing a lot of information on the case. And
well, you said that there was 32,000
reports.
So are those all subject to open records?
And that's what we're going through right now, because some of the information is not subject to open records requests because of age of victims, suspects. Certain things in there have to be redacted, and so we're redacting all of that as we speak.
32,000
of reports, and that's why it's taken us. He was convicted in on Memorial Day weekend, and then he went to jail, and that's his. But now we have all these reports, and I know people say we shouldn't release it. Well, I don't get that decision.
That's not. Nope, don't want to. That's not really how it works, actually.
And there'll be there's a lot of criticism out there. Should we even be talking about this class case anymore?
Sure.
And Jamie's doing great, and that's all we want in life. But there's other missing kids, and there's other things that other people can learn about this case. We're going around. We're doing a talk in Eau Claire in this case to other law enforcement officers from A to Z. It's not for public. It's for other law enforcement to show what we did as law enforcement. So we have a detective from our department, myself, a DCI agent, an FBI agent are kind of going around saying, here's the case from A to Z. And, how do you, what did we do? What are the things we could have done better? How do you do it? And how do you keep following up on all these tips? And how do you create 32,000 reports? Well, you just do it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I won't be submitting an open records request for any of them. Because aside from, when you're on, just touching base on this, and I think the main reason, of course, that we're even discussing this case is because you just a week or two ago, a couple of weeks ago, did the ceremony or the 1 year remembrance. But yeah, I mean, I can see how some people kind of want to move on from that. But I think it's also important for other people as well. Like you had already discussed, people that have lost family, or they have someone that's still missing, that this is really a great message to keep out there.
Yeah, there's just no reason to give up.
Yeah.
There's absolutely none, and that's really where my focus has changed in life.
Sure.
There's just no reason to give up. But we're not gonna have a 2-year anniversary. We're not gonna have a 3-year anniversary. But it's been 3 years since Dan Glaze passed away in Russ County. And the radio and the TV all had things that like 3 years ago. Dan Glaze.
Yep.
We didn't do that. The law enforcement.
Yeah.
The Russ County Sheriff didn't go out and say, "Hey, let's have a 3-year anniversary," and let's let the media know. No,
He just put it up on his, I think, on his Facebook page. I think I saw it in the Russ County Sheriff's Office. He just put up, wasn't a press, just, hey, 3 years ago this happened. Keep him in he and the family. And
that's just what we do. It's anniversaries. Yeah. That's what we do in life. Good anniversaries, bad anniversaries, we all remember. But there's good in the world. I mean, I know it seems like sometimes in law enforcement, we're always talking about the bad in the world. And I think that's where the media covered the Kloss story so much, is because there's so much negativity in the world that this was a positive thing. And that's what it's about is, we talk about stabbings and shootings and all this other stuff all the time. But there's good in the world, and we just got to bring it out and show it as adults.
Well, and I think also if you look at the media's coverage while she was missing, then obviously she was back. I think if the media just kind of went away after that, that wouldn't have been good, actually. Because it's not a quote-unquote juicy story. It's, oh, she's okay? Well, then, see ya. We're heading back to New York. The fact that, no, there are media that still actually, we want to hear that story. That is a great message and a message of hope. So I actually think that's a good thing, that they continue to discuss that.
So do I, and I'll continue to go around and talk about this on whoever will let me talk about the power of positivity, because I think that's really important, and we can all be a little bit more positive in our day-to-day lives, and it's really our job as adults to raise our kids, from teachers to cops to the mailmen, and neighbors and friends, and we have these national night outs, and we want to get to know our neighbors, and this case is the prime example of getting to know your neighbors and helping each other out. And it really comes in Northwest Wisconsin, and someone put this to me, it really comes neighbors helping neighbors. It comes from our farmers. Our farmers, I'm milking cows and I fall down and break my leg because it's slippery out. Yeah. All the other neighbors come and milk my cows for me until I'm better. I mean, that's where this feeling of power and the farming community in our area does that so well. And we just took that and kind of ran with it during the Kloss case, and to have 2,000 searchers and to have all the food and all the people that helped and all the people that put signs up. I mean, every little thing can make a big difference. And that's what it was about in this case, is one person can make a difference. And that's really what it's about.
Well, you were just talking about neighbors helping neighbors. I was having a conversation with someone the other day that, because I've seen some of your call logs get sent out, and a lot of these are, dogs barking or just these random things. Like, why would you be calling 911 on some of these? And the example that I had used, and how far we've just kind of gotten to the point where it's almost we have these barriers between our neighbors now. And I don't know what that is, but just this friendly, like you said, farmers. So growing up, where my parents still live now, outside of Shell Lake, many times we would just look out the window and there's a whole bunch of cows in the yard because the neighbor's fence, went down, and there's just cows walking around. We don't call 911. We call them up and say, hey, your cows are out. They come up to get the cows back and fix the fence, and if we can help in any way, we certainly do, because that's just kind of what you're supposed to do. And I kind of feel like we're losing some of that. I don't know where that started,
right?
But I feel like we're losing some of that.
And I think so. I think people are because there's active shooter events, and there's all this stuff that keeps popping up out of the middle of nowhere. Like, how can there be shootings at school? How can there be shootings at churches? How can there be? And so I think there's a fear out there. And I heard this quote, and I've been carrying it around with me. It says, fear is a funny thing. Some of the time it brings out the worst in people, but fear also brings out the best. We certainly saw that in the Kloss case. Sure. Brings out love, loyalty, care, kindness, support, generosity, and appreciation. And for a certain few, fear brings out something different, the choice to be heroic, stand steady, and find a way to help and learn each other like family. And I just think that's a cool, and I don't know who wrote it. I don't know anything about it. I took it from something. And I just think that you're right. Sometimes we let fear overtake us, and sometimes we just need to be heroic, and we just need to think, hey, if that was my brother, my sister, I'd go out there and help them find their dog or put their cows back in.
Right.
And so I think sometimes fear overtakes us, and we just got to get past that.
Well, I don't know if there's a good way to transition into another topic I want to discuss, and that is Governor Evers had called for a special session, a couple of bills.
Yep.
One of them is commonly referred to as a red flag law. I was wondering if you were aware of that and kind of pick your brain on your thoughts. Are you aware of what that bill is?
A little bit. I've done some research on the red flag law, and the special session isn't going to happen. I understand they're going to gavel in and gavel out, which I think is a waste of time, but I'm not in politics on that end, and I think we need to do a better job on that. But what the red flag law is going to propose, it's a proposal for a judge to take away people's guns for people who are deemed to be a danger. Whether that is mental health or some other danger, it's just a way to control guns out there. And it's not a way that I can just go in as a sheriff and say, Ben calls and says, oh, my brother kind of goofy, I think you should go take his guns away.
Okay, that's true. Actually, you don't have to take his guns, but he's a little goofy.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm not going to drive to Matt's house and just walk in his house and say, hey, give me all your guns. Ben called. That's not what the red flag law is about. And some people are taking it to the extreme. And obviously, there's two sides to every story. And I'm not getting into the sides of the different story. But so I just can't, as a sheriff or law enforcement, or walk into Matt's house just because Ben called and said, I think he's crazy, take away his guns. That's not how it works. In this, how I understand the red flag law, or how I hope it is, and it's real similar as part of the domestic abuse law, the judge can deem you to be, under domestic abuse, can take your guns away for a certain period of time. But that's only after a hearing, after you have, as a victim or as a suspect, be able to argue your point to a judge, And so I think the red flag law can maybe work if there's due process, and that's all there needs to be. It just can't be, you said Chris Fitzgerald's crazy and go take his guns, and the cop shows up and takes all my guns. That's not going to happen. We're not going to do that from a law enforcement standpoint. There has to be due process when it comes to this. You have to have the right to, either go against your accuser or explain to the judge why you should be able to keep your guns. The judge rules anything. That's what we do in law enforcement. The judge rules, I want to go to Matt's house and search it, or your house and search it. I can do that if the judge lets me. I just can't go into your house and search it. But if I think I have a reason to, I fill out a search warrant. The judge says, yes, I grant that under the law, and then I can go do that. But I can't do that. There's rules and regulations to it. So there's two parts to it. Yeah. We haven't seen a final version of it. They're going to gavel in and gavel out, so we're not going to have to worry about it. But there just needs to be a better thought process put into it. And it's already there for the domestic abuse. It can be just added, and I think that's part of it. And that gets into universal background checks.
Yeah, that's the second one that was proposed.
Yeah, and we need to do a better job with that too. I mean, if there's a guy that sells guns professionally, has a store and he sells guns, and there's a gun show across the street, if I go to his store and fill out a form, I got to pass a background check. If I go across the street to the local gun show, I don't have to pass a background check. That's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair to the business owner that we're doing. So we need to do something different. What that is, I don't have that solution.
I've never been to a gun show. I'm not a fan of guns at all. But I think we had posed a question on our Facebook page. It was a poll that was exactly from the Marquette poll that was referenced in Evers's 80% of Wisconsinites support these bills. And I've seen a lot of comments about, and I don't really understand this world, right? But it's a lot of these gun show, these people do already do the background check. So it's just some that don't.
Right.
Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
I really don't either.
I don't either. I know some people do background checks and some people don't. I know there's ways you can do it, and there's a lot of guns in the world. So I'm not even sure that universal background checks is going to work, because all of us have guns, and and the universal background checks don't count between family members. But there's people that sell them, online or however people sell guns. I own a gun. I own this one right here that I carry with me. That's the only gun I have. So I don't hunt, and I support the hunters out there, and as a sheriff, I have a constitutional authority, and they get into all this big, we can have a whole discussion on that, but I follow the Constitution. I follow the laws that are set forth by our rulemakers. If they pass a law that says cops have to go get people's guns, then we'll have to go get them. But that's only after a due process and a law makes a bill and all that other fun stuff that, again, I don't need to get into. That's not my role. I love being the sheriff. I'm not running for Sean Duffy's seat or Romaine Quinn's seat.
Right.
I just they were doing a good job, and they're the people that represent us, and we need to just tell them what we think. And you don't always agree, but Romaine, he listens, and he's always out there trying to do what he thinks the people want, and I know there's two sides to every story. There's Democrat and Republican, and I'm everybody's sheriff. Yeah, there's a diva in my name. I'm supported by a lot of Republicans, and I wish sheriffs weren't like that, but because I don't need to get into the politics of it. My job is to answer 911 calls, go and respond to them. And it doesn't matter if we don't say it's a 3-minute response time if you're a Democrat and it's a 5-minute if you're a Republican or vice versa. It's just, that's not what it's about. We get drug into it sometimes from law enforcement, and that frustrates me. And
like what I'm doing right now.
No, that's okay because we're talking about it. I'll have this conversation with anybody on the street, and that's why I like doing these. And I go on radio shows and wherever I go and talk to people. That's why I love being out in the public because I get a point of view from this, and I don't have all the answers, and I need the support of my community to make some decisions that I make, but a lot of our decisions are set forth by this bill. If this bill becomes a law, I have to follow it. Yeah. Maybe I don't like the seatbelt law, but I have to enforce it, and we have discretion. Do we have to write a ticket every time? No, you don't have to in law enforcement, but under the law, it says if you don't wear your seatbelt, you can get pulled over for it.
Yeah, it's a little different, though. I think you were kind of you may not get a ticket for a seatbelt, but there's a lot of variables there. Right. But it's not that you, as either a sheriff or a deputy, your name's John Doe and Johnny Officer, and I do not believe in the seatbelt law. Right. Then therefore, never writing a ticket for it. Now that's different than obviously there's other circumstances why you may not do that. Right. But you still have to follow. Anytime you arrest someone for marijuana, and we do a story on it, same thing. It's like, well, you need to be focused on the well, it's still a crime. It just is. And until it's legal, we're still going to enforce it. The law. I don't know. Should we apologize? I'm sorry for doing our job. Can't help it.
You're right. We get that a ton. We're doing this drugs over dinner, these posts on Facebook about drugs over dinner. Well, some people don't like that we're calling it drugs over dinner. I'm like, all I'm doing is trying to raise awareness about the topic. No, I don't want you to have drugs over dinner. Yeah. You're exactly right. And so people are critical of that. And I'm like, I get it. But that raises awareness. It raises a discussion question with our kids. And today, and all we're doing is saying, sit down with your kids at the dinner table and talk about a topic. I don't care if it's schoolwork, drugs, or what you're going to do on Saturday at the pumpkin patch. Whatever it is, I don't care as long as you just don't have a conversation about it. And Drugs Over Dinner is an awareness campaign. And, and people are saying, well, you shouldn't talk about vaping. We should talk about meth. You shouldn't talk about marijuana. You should talk about meth. Well, you know what? We talk about meth a lot. Yeah. And it's not.
And then people say, why you're always talking about meth?
Yeah. And vaping is an issue. It's an issue in our middle schools. It's an issue in our high schools. And a lot of people don't understand it. So that's all we're trying to do is give people information to talk about it, the dangers of it, because everything you read in the media or on TV isn't true. I mean, everything on Facebook isn't true. Mm-hmm. So, we catch a lot of grief for that, but follow us on Facebook, our Drugs Over Dinner, and
I saw one of those. It was very short. You had just a quick clip, and it was about talking about meth. I think ask your kids what do they know about meth. Right. And I was watching it. Of course, the kids were at school, and I wrote down, okay, I should actually do this. And now I think about it, I forgot. But I'm actually really interested because it's one's in elementary and one's in middle school. I've never asked them. Right. Have you ever heard of meth? And if so, where have you heard this? Are teachers talking about it or what? But I'm curious.
And the same question goes for vaping. And then you have a fun question like, what should I never wear again? That's just have it. It doesn't have to be a serious conversation every time you have supper.
Well, yeah, that's good because I rarely have any serious conversations.
We'll have one once in a while, and you're doing good. I'll try. Because you want your kids to be safe. But vaping is out there, and we're teaching fifth graders about meth. So if you have a fifth grader out there,
that's just nuts.
Well, but that's where we're seeing it. We're seeing the age of methamphetamine drop, and that's our job again as adults to do something about that. And I don't care what adult you are, if it's your neighbor kid, your grandkid, whoever. Again, it's our job as adults to do something, and we can change the world. And our kids are learning that faster, I think, than we are. And our kids want to make a difference. And let's just push that a little bit and have a little fun with that.
So the drugs over dinner, I didn't realize that was actually a campaign, because I follow thousands of Facebook pages. So obviously I can't see everything that's in the newsfeed, but I usually try to check your page at least once a day just to see if there's something I missed. What are you doing with this? What is the actual campaign? Is it just a series of some Facebook posts? Are you going around to schools? What is the campaign?
Well, it's drugs over dinner. It's a simple campaign. It's just idea to raise awareness. It's really part of a whole meth campaign. I mean, it's just one arm of it, whether it's enforcement, education. There's an enforcement end of methamphetamine or drugs,
Sure.
and there's an education end, and it's just a prong of our education pillar on our plan, and where we got to be a little bit smarter on crime than softer on crime, and it's just a way to raise awareness that if we can stop one kid from using meth, we're winning the game.
Yeah.
And so it's just an arm of an awareness campaign, whether that's our town hall meetings, or it's just something different we thought about doing. We saw it on someone else's post, and they said drugs over dinner. And again, don't have drugs over dinner, but it's a way it catches your eye, and all it is a catchy slogan.
Yeah.
And we can say, talk about drugs over dinner. That's fine too. If you want to put talk in front of it, let's do it.
Sure.
But that's just the campaign, and we got permission to use it, and I just think it's pretty neat, and it's just a way to just an arm of raising awareness is all it is.
Yeah. Well, now that we have November starting, are you getting ready for I think it's Shop with the Cop? Don't you do that every year?
Yep, we do Shop with the Cop every year.
Is that getting going yet?
Yep.
Up and going?
Yeah, and actually we're raising money for it. We're partnering with Sterling Bank this year, and it's our 10th year of doing it in Barron County. We take about 75 kids shopping, and we usually have our donut dash race. That's our donut dash, and that's we eat donuts in the middle and donuts at the end, because cops eat donuts. Yep, we eat donuts. We eat candy too, so you can drop it off at the sheriff's department if you have extra from your kids. No. But that's our fundraiser this year. We need a little bit extra money. We want to take a few more kids. We want to take about 75 kids shopping the first Monday in December at Walmart. We just teamed up with Walmart Adventures Restaurant. They give a big meal afterwards.
Oh, wow.
We just signed Pepsi to be part of our program. They've been part of our program for a few years. They're back in this year. Sterling Bank is in, and you can drop off any Barron County Sterling Bank location. People want to give to it. Everybody says, oh, I'd love to give to that program. I'm like, well, here's your opportunity. Any Sterling Bank location, you write out checks to the Barron County Law Enforcement Foundation, Barron, Chautauqua, or Rice Lake. They have Sterling Bank locations. You can drop off a check there. You can drop it off to the Sheriff's Department. You can mail it to me at the Sheriff's Department, make checks out to the Barron County Law Enforcement Foundation. And we give them a Christmas dinner. We're working with one of our local state troopers is working to try to get a Christmas dinner, frozen Christmas dinner donated to every kid. And it's really...
You mean like frozen dinners?
Yeah, no, like a frozen turkey.
Oh, okay.
We're working with Jenny O.
Salisbury steak.
Yeah. It takes 38 seconds. You have Christmas dinner. No. No, we just want them to go home with something special besides gifts. And they have to buy gifts for their family. They don't buy gifts for themselves. And a cop takes them shopping.
Whoa, see, I did not know that. Say that. I didn't know that.
No, it's not for them.
I just assumed it was.
Nope. They get to buy one thing for themselves, and that's kind of a surprise because we take different kids each year.
Sure.
But we'll take about 75 kids, and they have to bring a list for their brothers, sisters, grandmas, aunts.
What?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay, so now that is awesome.
It's about giving back, and we want our kids to really, so they don't get to go, but they get to buy something for themselves, of course.
Sure.
But we want them to buy, a candle for their mom or something.
Aww.
These kids don't get that opportunity to sometimes do that.
Sure, and maybe that's how it is for all of them. I never thought about that. We had Tracy Finch, the sheriff from Burnett, was here last week and talking about that, but I never even asked. I just assumed that it's for the kid.
Yeah. Nope, ours is not, and some are, and some aren't.
Which is perfectly fine too.
Right. I agree. But
wow, that's cool.
But I always talk about our cops and the things that we have to deal with and see every day, and it sucks some days.
Yeah.
But this is the day where you get to see smiles on all these cops, and we have about 60 or 70 cops and about 75 kids, and Walmart's a zoo. But it's really, people now just come and watch. They just walk around and watch these kids, and to be able to put certain things in their cart, but it's also heartbreaking because people were like, wow, can I get a gallon of milk? Because if I brought an extra milk home, my mom
goodness.
I mean, like, it just melts you. And people say, I want to give to that. And so now is your opportunity to give. We really need some help this year. Our race was canceled because we had the storms. We had a makeup race. And so we didn't raise quite as much money as I wanted to. But
because if you want to take 75 kids, and if you only have money for 65, who's going to be the one who draws a short straw to go tell 10 other kids you can't go this year? Sorry, no milk.
Yeah, we'll have it. Yeah, exactly. We'll get it. Our community backs everything we do, and I can't thank our community enough for their support. But this is our 10th year. We want to make it huge. Sterling Bank wanted to be a partner. They're running some radio ads for us. So if you want to give to our Shop at the Cop program, again, it's going to be just making a Christmas a little brighter for kids, and that's what it's about, and it's the greatest day of law enforcement for us in Barron County, that Monday at Walmart, and it's the safest place to be.
Nice.
That Walmart, 75 cops.
Well, yeah, no kidding. I mean, but if they're bad guys, they would go out and do crimes when you're all at Walmart.
We're not all at Walmart.
Okay.
So don't go speeding around next Monday in December. And I'm like, all the cops are at Walmart. That's not how it works.
Oh, man. How many calls do you get? How many 911 calls does the dispatch get when you do this every year when they have all those cop cars outside Walmart?
Yeah, we get a few. Like, what's going on? No. But now we've got a good foundation set for this, and we're pretty excited. And like I said, a lot of people, I think, just come down and see all the smiles.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Bruce at Adventures in Rice Lake, and he feeds us a big taco dinner afterwards. And we have it at one of the local hotels lets us use their big room, and it's pretty awesome. It's a pretty fun night, and it's fun to drop $10,000 or $15,000 at Walmart in like an hour. So, and you look, and I have this big pile of gift cards, and we just drop all that money, and it's really fun.
Those poor cashiers. Yeah, here's a $10 gift card, a $5 gift card. Oh man, we're gonna be here all night for one kid.
and Walmart brings in 3 cashiers for us just for that night. It's
cool.
really a community event, and it's a way for us to give back because our community supports us in everything we do, and we just want to make a difference and make Christmas a little brighter. And so we always have it the first Monday, so we'll see everybody at Walmart the first Monday in December.
See, it's stuff like that makes me wish I would have gone to be a cop.
Yeah. I wish it was like that every day. It's just not. But we're pretty blessed here. As you know, you've lived with it for a lot of years with your dad, and we're pretty blessed in Northwest Wisconsin to have the support we have as cops, because we don't have protesters, and we don't have, we got some Facebook comment people once in a while, and that's just life. Everybody's not going to agree with everything we do in life, and it's just that our jobs are public. Everything I do is a public record. Yeah. Yep. And so people get to comment on that, and that's life.
I've never once had an issue with anyone commenting on our stuff. Ever. Nope.
No, never.
All positive.
Yeah, all positive at DrydenWire.
Thank you so much for providing this free information in a timely manner.
No one's ever sent you a hate mail.
Never. Nope. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and that's just what it's about. And we just all got to enjoy life a little bit more and have a little bit more fun, and not too much fun, but it's just, I don't know. I love my job. I just enjoy it every day, and it's days like Shop with the Cop that mean the world, and it means a lot to our department, especially over the last couple of years. We've seen some bad stuff and had to deal with some bad stuff, and there's a lot of things out there, but it works out good. We have a good team, and like I said, I got the best team, and we're supported by a great community, so that's what makes our job so much fun.
Well, and I think sometimes it's hard for people to see you as humans, law enforcement. And it's okay to, you are just a human being, and your name's Chris. Yeah. When you take a uniform up, you look like we all look like, and you do normal stuff like we all do. But I also think it's important. I think we were talking recently with someone on our show, I think it was last week, about just having levity. Sometimes it's important to find a little humor in some very serious things. It's not disrespectful. It's not meant to be that. It's simply kind of a process a little to take off some of the heaviness of things. I think it's okay to laugh every once in a while and to smile every once in a while.
It is. And you see us smiling, there's maybe a traffic fatality down the road, and it's just, and our cops are standing around there, and they're just waiting for the tow truck or the whoever to get there, and the family's been cleared away, and we're sitting there, we wouldn't be laughing, but we're probably talking about Halloween last night and what our kids were dressed up as.
Yeah.
It's
normal stuff.
Yeah, because we just can't it's called Gallows Humor.
Never heard that.
Yeah, there's actually a term for it, how you deal with stress and high stress incidents, and it's just, we've got to remember that we're on film 24/7. We're always out there when we're on duty, and sometimes we're people too. And you're right. I'm going to take my uniform off tonight. I'm probably going to go to Walmart and get some groceries. And it's different when you're the sheriff a little bit because you're on duty 24/7 or supposed to be. And, but I'm okay with that. I enjoy that. I love it. Again, if I didn't have the support of our community, it'd be a little bit tougher, but I love it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you have the body cams.
Yeah,
so it's kind of a, hey, you hear the one about the priest walking into the bar. It's, dude, cam, turn it off. We don't want that one on camera.
No. We laugh because it's probably true.
That's awesome. I saw something recently about Citizens Academy. Are you guys still doing that?
Actually, we have our third one coming up, and pretty good segue about how we're real people too, and we want to teach people about our job. So we're launching our third annual Citizens Academy in January.
Oh, you have something for this?
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm sending out this press release. This is breaking news right here because this is going out right after we get done here.
All right, nice.
But we're having in January from 10 to 11:30 every other Wednesday. So January, February, March, and we're gonna teach people what it's like to be a cop. And so our officers are going to train you in patrol, canine.
Do we get to drive?
No, you don't get to drive. No, you don't. And
Can we turn the lights on at least?
Yeah, probably. We're going to do, our drug unit's going to come and show you how we do an undercover operation. What's meth? We're going to do some shoot, don't shoot scenarios. Maybe with the tech college, they have a shoot, don't shoot scenario. So you get to actually go to a domestic on the screen, and you get to decide if you get to shoot or not. And and so that's our goal. We work with our tech college. We're going to teach you about evidence. We're going to let you come in the jail and work a jail shift for an hour and a half.
How cool.
Dispatch, and then our emergency response team.
So this isn't just you come in here, take a class for an hour or two, and you get a badge.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, this is actually pretty serious.
We have 7 sessions. We want everybody to come to all 7.
Wow.
There's going to be a graduation. You have to apply. You can't have a criminal record. You have to. So on our website, there's a tab that's launching today. Sign up for our Citizens Academy. We're taking about 20 to 25 people, and that's going to be it. And we hope to fill up. We want business people, regular people, whoever wants to come and learn about law enforcement. And again, we're doing a background check, so you can't have an open case with us and want to learn about the system.
So how do you process this kind of evidence?
So how do you sell meth? Exactly. No, we're not going to be doing that.
Oh.
But our people love that because, again, it's building support for law enforcement. It's showing some understanding for law enforcement. If you want to come down and be part of it, and we can have a show on it every other week, starting in January. So you got a month to sign up, and then the month of December, we're going to background check and pick the people, and then we're going to start in January. A couple of our officers are going to lead that, and it's our people, like our patrol division is going to do it and lead it. And like I said, you're going to sit and dispatch for an hour and a half. You're going to maybe even put a headset on and be able to listen to some of the 911 calls that come in.
Nice.
So hopefully nothing bad happens.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Our goal is 0 911 calls in a day. It's just not a reality.
Yeah.
But so look for more information. There'll be a press release coming out
later
on
today?
that later today.
I'll get that out. Are you going to have them sign non-disclosures if they're listening in to certain things?
No, everything is public record. We got to remember. So no, we obviously, if it turns out to be a major case, we're probably going to have to close and
scoot the person out there.
Yeah. So. But and so obviously they can't listen to medical calls and things like that. We shield all that. We're very protective of people's rights.
How often did you do this every year?
No, we haven't done it obviously we've been busy the last year. So we didn't do it last year. So this is our third one we've been doing. So it's just something I did a couple years ago, and it started, and then people wanted to do it, and we used to do it at night. We're going to try one during the day. Maybe retired people, business people.
Sure.
It's for anybody 18 and older. We don't want kids in it. We know there's kids that want to be part of law enforcement out there, but we have a different way to get them
this
involved.
isn't like a ride along with a cop type
Right.
thing. Oh, and by the way, I heard that you don't do that anymore. I mean, not you specifically, but law enforcement doesn't do ride-alongs anymore.
Yeah, we do in certain, not just we do them. Like sometimes I do donate it to Ride with the Sheriff is what it's called, and I do a donation. But I do it. I don't take up our patrolman's time, and I take you around on some calls. But a lot of times you just sit in the car and do it. So I've taken people on ride-alongs. We allow some of our kids, I call them kids, and I'm getting old, but some of the people in our law enforcement program at the tech college will do a ride-along.
Okay.
But we'll let
That's a little different. They're going into that field.
Right. That's a little different. We try not to just give
anyone
a ride along just because it's Tuesday and I'm bored tonight and I'm going to go ride with the sheriff because he said. No, that's not how it works. But we do love to give tours and show you our dispatch center and our jail. I have no problem doing that. I'm owned by the taxpayers, and all that stuff is owned by taxpayers, so I have no problem showing people our equipment or Boy Scout troops or whatever it is, Girl Scout troops, whatever. And so we're open to the public, and that's always been my, I've been the sheriff 12 years now, or just almost 12 years, and I've enjoyed not every day of it, but most days.
Most days. Yeah. I've never been in the your jail, or I think I've gone into the government center there a couple of times, but just in the lobby. I've never actually been in there. I should come down and do wouldn't mind seeing
Here you go. Every Tuesday at 10:30. Okay. Every other Wednesday or whatever it is.
10:30, okay.
So starting in January, you can come down every week or every other week.
Sure. I should have Dad sign up for that, and then just so we can go in and say, nope, that's not how you should do it. Nope, you should do it this.
He's got to pass the background.
He'll never pass.
So.
Okay, we've covered the things that I wanted to make sure I talked to you about. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you want people to know about?
No, I don't think so. Obviously, it's going to be winter here soon, and so our motto's always been drive slow in the snow. Don't go out if you don't have to. If it's snowing today and you need milk, but you can wait till tomorrow when the plows come out tonight or whatever it is when it snows. Give them extra time. Give our plow drivers some extra space when they're out there. I know everybody's in a hurry, but they don't start in Superior and end up in Eau Claire in 53. They always stop, and you're not going to follow them forever.
Yeah.
So just give them extra space up plowing our workers out there. Be careful of accidents and just it's winter driving, and we need to get ready for winter driving because it's going to happen.
And I think for the most part, people are very good at winter driving, right? But
not the first snowfall.
I was just going to say, there is the one day I will absolutely never leave the house, and that is when it's just like 2 inches, right? Not even a storm, just the 2 inches of snow. Yeah, just stay home.
Yeah, and it's just that first day. It's our new drivers. It's our just remember it takes longer to stop, and bridges are slippery and all that stuff, and so just.
And we forget sometimes too, because it has been 9 months since we've experienced that, or 7 months.
Yeah. Hopefully it's been 9
months. Yeah, right.
Well, hopefully it's 9, but and so every day now that we don't get snow is a bonus day for us. But But just take your time out there, drive slow. Again, I thank our communities out there for the support they give law enforcement. I think that's really what's key. And just go out there and make a difference and never give up hope. That's about all I got.
Sheriff, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Are you going to come back and let us know how the Citizens Academy goes? And
sure.
I can't wait to hear about Shop with a Cop. Let's get you back in January, something right after the holidays.
Sounds like a great plan.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you.